Hello and welcome again to another episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show. Today I want to talk about the first record you ever bought with your own money. Do you remember what it was? I'm having trouble trying to remember mine, and it's something that's been bugging me for years, and I know it's going to be one of two records. And I've got those records with me today to show you what I think they are. It's kind of funny because I think both of these records I bought from the same store, but I don't think I bought them on the same day. See, now when I was young, I didn't get a lot of pocket money, or allowance as it's called in America. So any money that I did get, I would go to the city and I would buy records because that's what I was doing. I was young and I was obsessed with music. So in 1986, a bit of background history on this one. In 1986, my brother brought home from the library, he borrowed it from the library, the cassette tape of Orgasmatron by Motorhead. And when he got it home, he was getting into metal. I was into rock and stuff like that. Like I was listening to AC/DC and things like that. So he brought Orgasmatron back from the library and he played it to me. He goes, "You got to listen to this." As soon as he put it on, I couldn't work out what I was hearing, because if you've heard Deaf Forever, which is the opening track on Orgasmatron, you would hear that guitar tone is such a weird sound, and the drums and everything. It just all sounds so strange. I'd never heard anything like it before in my life, but I was intrigued by it. And then when I heard the song Orgasmatron, the title track off the record, I was just in. I couldn't believe the noise that was coming from the speakers, and I love that thumping beat, that dong, 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 dong. Like it was just, it grabbed me, and immediately I was hooked, and I was like, this is the greatest thing I'd ever heard. Everything that I was listening to before that, all the mainstream stuff that, I was taping off the radio as a kid and stuff like that, all gone. I didn't care about that anymore. Although I still like it, and to this day I still like it, I just did not care about it. Like, I was a new kid that had just discovered this music and I was obsessed. So Motorhead became my band, and I must have listened to that tape, God knows how many times. And the first thing I did when I had some money was to go to the city and buy a record. At this time, I was also listening to bands, Twisted Sister, and I think I had discovered, stuff like Striper and things like that sort of metal. I mean, obviously I was into Poison and Bon Jovi and all that sort of stuff, but it was Motorhead's Orgasmatron that really just grabbed me. But being that I was into all of those bands, I didn't own records by any of those bands because I didn't have any money to go out and buy records. But then I started to get into buying records. My brother was starting to buy records too. He's older than me. So we went to the city one day, and I don't know if he was with me on this day, but I bought one of these two records. And the first one, I'll tell the story about. The reason why I bought up Motorhead is because one of these records is a Motorhead record, but it's not Orgasmatron. But we'll get to that in a second. What I want to do though is show you the other record first that I think it could have been. It's Twisted Sister's Under the Blade on picture disc. Now, I went into Andromeda Music in Gawler Place in Adelaide, and this was in there for $10, and I picked it up, and I didn't know about picture discs. I didn't know how shit they sounded at the time. I was a kid. I was just getting into music, and immediately I saw this and I was like, wow, look at this picture on this record, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'm a kid, so of course you're going to say goofy little things like that. But anyway, I was so taken by this image, and it was $10, and I had $10. So I asked the guy if he could, if I could listen to it, because there's this big white line on there. You see that? So immediately I thought, oh shit, this thing is scratched. He puts it on and it crackles, and it's very thin sounding because it's a picture disc, and picture discs sound pretty thin. But they've got a good stereo system in there, so everything's going to sound great no matter what you put on it. Anyway, it gets to, 20 or 30 seconds in and the record skips. And I was like, shit. And then it skipped again. And I was like, shit. So that white line, I thought immediately, that's the scratch. Anyway, the guy takes it off and goes, oh, look, there is some scratches on it, but, it's $5 if you want it. I was like, all right, $5, I can deal with that. So I gave him $5 because I was so intrigued by how it looked. They didn't really care then that there were scratches in it, because I was so blown away by how cool this thing looked. And if you're wondering, on the other side, there's that. So, cool. So anyway, I hand over my money and I take this home. And I remember when I put it on, my stereo was pretty good at the time. And I noticed that this white line was actually not a scratch. It's actually a mark that's on the picture itself underneath the pressing of the vinyl. So I just basically wiped down the record as much as I could and I put it on and the scratches were gone. There was no jumping scratches. It crackles and pops here and there, but there's no, this white line doesn't do anything to the sound. So I got a really cool picture for $5. It's probably worth nothing, maybe $5 today, but still, it's cool to have because I really liked your sister and I really like this record. I think the first song on it, What You Don't Know Sure Can't Hurt You, is such a killer tune. It blew my mind when I heard it and I was just like, wow, what an opener, especially that whole good evening, ha 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 ha. But anyway, yeah, I really like this record. Really, really like this record. I have this one, and I do have the other one as well. That's the remix version of it. And I haven't listened to this in a while. Maybe I'll listen to it today. But there we go. So, Under the Blade could have been the first record. And the reason I say could have been, and I'm not definite on it, is because this next album, Another Perfect Day by Motorhead. So this album came out in 1983. Now this is the Australian version, which had a hype sticker up here that said it came with a sew-on patch that looks like this. And I still have the patch to this day, obviously, because I took that photo. But anyway, this album was the first Motorhead record I ever owned. And I'm pretty sure that, I definitely did have it before I bought Orgasmatron. Well, actually, I didn't buy Orgasmatron. My brother gave it to me for Christmas with the patch, which is on my jacket, which you can see here. So I still got the patch to this day. And that would have been Christmas 1986, he bought me that record. But this, I still rate Another Perfect Day as top 3 Motorhead records for me. I love this record a lot. I think that, Back at the Funny Farm is such a great opening song. And then you've got Dancing on Your Grave and you've got I Got Mine. It's just Another Perfect Day. There's just so many good songs on this record. I highly recommend, if you've never heard this album, you need to give it a listen. Now, this album cops a lot of crap, and I don't know why. It seemed to be very unpopular with a lot of diehard Motorhead fans that I've met. When I told them that this was one of my top 3 favorite records, they all screwed up their face at me and were just like, no. But I really love this record. I'm just a huge fan of the melodies, the guitar melodies, and I just think the songs are just kick ass. They just really are. Back at the Funny Farm was such a killer opener. But like I said, was this the first record I bought? I get the feeling it might have been, but I really don't know. And I asked my brother, does he remember the first record I ever bought? And he thinks it's one of these two as well. So he agrees with me that it's either Twisted Sister or it's Another Perfect Day, but we can't pinpoint which one it is. All I know is Motorhead's Orgasmatron record is my favorite Motorhead record of all time. I remember when I read the lyrics to Orgasmatron, which are actually on the back cover, which is really cool. I was intrigued. I was sitting there going, really? Is Orgasmatron a train? Is that what he's talking about? Is that what he's singing about? A train that looks like that? That's pretty awesome. Seriously, to come up with that kind of concept, a fucking train that looks like this. How awesome is that? I would never in my mind, without seeing the cover, thought that Orgasmatron was a train. But here we are. A train. And how good is this artwork? This is probably my favorite Motorhead album cover as well to this day. I just love the artwork, and this version comes with a poster, and the poster is awesome, as you can see here. I'm just intrigued with this. I love it. I just think the sound of it is incredible. The whole way through, it's just such a killer record. I listened to it again today, and it still blows my mind how good this album is. Just the 2 guitar sounds are just so out there, and the bass sound is just insane. And, the drums, oh my God, the drumming on this album is flawless. It is so good. But anyway, Motorhead Orgasmatron, that's not why we're here. But this record was given to me by my brother in 1986 at Christmas. And I remember when I opened it up and I saw the record, I was really excited. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then the patch fell out and I was like, oh my God, and I got the patch, so I put it on my jacket. So, yeah. But anyway, not my first record that I bought, but definitely my favorite Motorhead album. If you're wondering what the third album is that I'd say, top 3, it's 1916. I love this record. I think the guitar tones on it are incredible. The drumming on it's phenomenal. Everything about this album rules. The songs are incredible. And plus they do a song called Ramones. It could not fail because any band that worships the Ramones as much as I do, I have to be into it, right? Awesome. Good stuff. This album rules. You should all go and buy it. So it brings us back to the question, which album did I have first? Twisted Sister, Under the Blade, or Motorhead's Another Perfect Day? I guess I'll never know. But that brings up a good discussion though, and please tell me in the comments below what the first record that you ever bought with your own money, not one that was given to you, not one that you inherited from somebody, but one that you had the money and you were just like, you know what, I really want that record, I can now afford that record, I'm going to go buy that record. Just let me know what your first record was, because I'm really intrigued by that. I love finding out what people's first records are that they ever spent their money on. I just think it's really cool, because it kind of gives you an idea of where you're going. While I was listening to everything from like hip hop and 80s pop music and whatever before I discovered AC/DC and Blondie and Talking Heads and all of those sorts of bands, I just think it's cool, how our paths go. The paths change and they just go everywhere, and take right turns and left turns here and there, and you end up listening and discovering all sorts of music, which I'll get to in another video. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what your first record was, and also subscribe to the channel if you like hearing about records, because there's going to be plenty of it on this channel. And don't forget to follow longoneloser.com. If you head over to there, you can listen to my weekly radio show where I play music by bands like Twisted Sister and Motorhead, and you can find tons of stuff, new releases, old releases. I play a whole range of stuff for an hour every week, and you can listen to that at longoneloser.com. And also follow me on Instagram, which is at longoneloser. So thank you so much. Have the best day ever. Go buy some records, and I'll see you soon.